This is All India Radio. We now bring you the curtain raiser of our new science serial, Welcome Tomorrow. This is a joint production of All India Radio with Vigyan Prasad. This serial is based on the concept of artificial intelligence. Participating experts in this curtain raiser are Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director Vigyan Prasad, and Dr. Birendra Kumar Tyagi, Senior Scientist Vigyan Prasad and Coordinator of the Science Serial. The moderator for this discussion is Manoj Mankar. Let us now listen to the curtain raiser of our upcoming Science Serial, Welcome Tomorrow.
A big hello to all listeners. February has been an interesting month for All India Radio and especially the broadcasters here. Of course, one reason is the fading away of the extreme North Indian winter. The other is it's also a time to meet interesting people on a variety of subjects. After a long time, it's a pleasure and a privilege to once again extend a warm welcome to Dr. B.K. Tyagi and Dr. Nakul Parashar from Vigyan Prasad as we are about to embark on another long journey. If listeners may do well to remember our earlier series together, which if you stretch your memory a bit, I'm sure all of you remember Whispers of the Wind, Lest We Lose, Life Must Go On, and the ones even prior to them. So, without wasting much time, I would straight away come to Dr. Tyagi. Let me be very honest. The moment one says artificial intelligence, it gives me, pictures of robots in space. Mm-hmm. I still cannot relate it to everyday life. Mm-hmm. I hope I am wrong.
I think yes, Manoj, it's not so. The artificial intelligence, or as we call it in short, AI, it has already made an inroad into our daily life. Look at your smartphone, and especially when you are typing something on it, generally you see it is suggesting you, or it can also read out your mind and suggesting you like what the word you want to write next. It depend upon your earlier, what you have written on that. So that means this machine is retaining, memorizing what you are doing, what you have done, and also suggesting you. So this is like a question is, it's like a machine is learning and trying to help you. So how this machine is learning, it is you can say the outcome of artificial intelligence.
Dr. Parashar, you are a well-travelled man. Can we look at the historical perspective of the entire gamut of artificial learning? A curious person like me would like to know, was it born in just 2015 or 16 or say 2014? Or it has been with us, albeit, we may have not known it, or we could have known it by some other name. But how long has this phenomenon been with us historically?
Indeed, a good question. Artificial intelligence, as Dr. Tyagi rightly said, is something where, you try to replace, you try to make the machine understand, and then, devise things that go according to your needs, go according to your requirements. Artificial intelligence, even from days as primitive as when we didn't have computers as well, the tendency of human beings always has been to automate processes. And in automation, you keep on thinking of newer technologies, you think of newer processes, you bring in systems that keep evolving over a period of time. And at the back of your mind, which is the most intelligent thing, which actually is the basis of how you drive machines to work according to your needs. I'll give you a small example. It was my days of masters in computer sciences way back in early 90s when we were being taught so-called artificial intelligence or expert systems.
Was it called artificial intelligence even then?
Yeah, it was called, but primarily the subject was called expert systems. So It was nothing, but it was a repository, a database of a set of knowledge, questions, rules that were then fed into the computer so that computer can then understand, and then according to which it can take decisions. Mycin, for that example, was one of the oldest expert systems in medical sciences. So doctors had a big repository of questions which talked about symptoms, which talked about medication, which talked about diagnosis and prognosis of a disease. And when the patient used to visit a doctor, the doctor used to feed in certain data, and that data would then go and match against those set rules of prognosis, diagnosis, medicine, medication. This is exactly what we do nowadays in times of artificial intelligence, which is called machine learning. So over a period of time, to come back to what you said, that the history of artificial intelligence is just not in the post-internet period, which is post-1995, but it has been there ever since Charles Babbage first came up with computers. So the only thing is, as machines improved, as the processing power of computers improved, as microprocessors kept on improving from 8088 to 80486 to 286, 486, and now to Pentium 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over a period of time we have seen the capacity of processing multiple functions, multiple rules, multiple algorithms, huge massive data that we talk of, which is called big data and all, that all came up recently. But as they evolved, so did the improvement of so-called artificial intelligence also come up. And as I said, it's a tendency of a human being to improve its process, and that automation is now in a most complicated and a most sophisticated manner is called artificial intelligence.
At that point, let me use my human intelligence a bit. Two innocuous examples strike me. When I was in college, we were not allowed to use the calculator for doing calculations. Not allowed at all, especially during exam time. One, A, a calculator, and B, there used to be a toy, a small vehicle, which kids would play with. It would go straight, and when it would hit an obstacle, it would on itself take a turn and try some other direction till the time it hit another obstacle. So can these be considered, rudimentary, albeit, examples of artificial intelligence, or no?
See, anything which automates your style of thinking, your process, right? So in this case, that small toy that hits an obstacle doesn't let you go up to the obstacle to go and turn it physically. So it does it by its own self. Is basically an example of automating a process. And if this entire process is written into an algorithm and fed into a computer, right, it would become a small example of an artificial intelligence as well.
Dr. Tyagi, allow me to digress a bit now, because we are, as I said, embarking upon another joint program. First of all, as I mentioned initially, we have had successful examples of interactive series like Whispers of the Wind, Lest We Lose, Life Must Go On. What has been your cumulative assessment of that in terms of, listeners gaining, which is our actual purpose?
Okay. See, when we talk about taking science to the people, it's not the academic science. Everybody may not be interested in reading science or taking science as a subject option. But I am a user of science all the time. Like, take example of this the latest serial on artificial intelligence, which we call in Hindi Aane Wala Kal and Welcome Tomorrow. So as a citizen of India, or now I should say as a citizen of this globe, I need to, because the world is changing very fast. AI has already, made a place in our life, in all aspect of life, and it's going to increase day by day. So am I ready with this kind of my attitudes or my way of thinking, way of my style to cope up with this kind of thing, which is the definite like which we see in the coming days. So just to prepare the people to or have a futuristic vision to live with the technology which is coming up, and which is for that we need more trained manpower. So what should be the future subjects in our studies also? So the people who are willing to take a career option, they should also be sensitizing. We are sensitizing to those students also, and as a user also, because still there are many areas which are emerging areas, especially you might have heard about the word cyber security. New and newer situation are arising for which we have no the law or the legal position is not clear. So before that we fall into any kind of those traps or legal issues, at least I should be aware of that. So this serial is an attempt to create you can say in a way, sensitizing the people about.
It comes across as the idea comes across as a bouquet of multiple purposes.
Multiple purposes. Where we need to know the hardcore science of that. Then as a user, how I'll be benefited, and what are the already doubts in the mind of a few section of the society, that when we talking more and more automation, which is a part of AI, we'll say what will be the employment scenario, because there are a lot of contradictory reports which are saying it may there may be a like possibility that people will be losing their jobs when the automation or AI will replace the human intelligence. But it is not true. That we also try to defy those apprehensions based on the empirical evidences through our this docudrama format. So these all aspect we have taken, and besides like taking science to the people and using radio, that was another component of the whole program, because by the way we have selected AI stations which are producing and relaying the program, we are covering around 85% geographical population of our country. And where like we cannot reach directly, I think through community radio or through our Vigyan Prasar website, we will made available these radio program to all these people.
In a short while from now, we'll also discuss the structure that you have thought of in terms of our upcoming serial, Welcome Tomorrow. Before, just a small question before that, Dr. Parashar, whatever little I know or I've learned about, and I hope I'm correct in that, whatever I know about artificial intelligence, the only three words that I know are machine learning, coding and gaming. I don't know how is it connected to artificial intelligence. My point is, in our new program, shall we be targeting more of applications, or we're also going to take into account the fundamental or the human intelligence behind artificial intelligence also?
Indeed, a very good question. And like what Dr. Tyagi just said, this is like our other serials that we have done in the past. This would be another 52 episode serial, and in which we would not only be covering one aspect of artificial intelligence, but our endeavor would be to cover as much as possible and make it more holistic, more wholesome, which means making a layman, a person on the street, understand what artificial intelligence is, that he or she doesn't need to dread what it is about, that is going to take away a job, but rather on the contrary, it's going to create more number of jobs. It's going to make life much more simpler, much more easier. And as I said, it's the human instinct right from inception. I mean, ever since the wheel got invented, it was something which was to make life much more automated, to make much more life simpler.
Comfortable
right.
as well.
And we Indians, on a lighter note, are famous for jugaad. Right. And jugaad happens to be the most intelligent form, innovative form of making life simpler and easier. We've seen things being put together, all those household things that we at times think of doing away with, they come in handy. And from Kabar, say Jugaad, there have been a lot of things that we at Vigyan Prasar have done in the past and bring it to people. So these are examples of how the brain works in making life simpler, automating the process of, like for example, you just mentioned about the toy hitting the obstacle. Similarly, we now see a lot of robots, coming and trying to support and help us. In fact, one of the branches of artificial intelligence is RPA, robotic process automation, and that's what exactly when we first started. You said when you think about artificial intelligence, you think about robots functioning and all that stuff. So life is just not robotic process automation, but it has got other things as well, like machine learning, deep learning, NLP, so and so forth. And the basis of it, it's as simple as possible. It's just 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, because it's all about computers to whom you have to make them understand. And the algorithm on which it works is again very simple, very objective, very pattern oriented. And when it comes to pattern, it's about correlating known to the unknown, which is the basis of learning anything that you want.
If I assess you linguistically, now I've started using my artificial intelligence as well.
It's a real intelligence. Yours is a real intelligence.
This, from what I gather, I have come to the conclusion that this program will cater to a wider audience, right from the uninitiated to even the hardest of geeks and nerds.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So, Dr. Tyagi, let's move on to business now and look at the intended structure that we are planning.
I think we always make a long series. So this is true for this artificial intelligence as well. We have a 52 episode in the entire. So we will be starting in
as with other series that
yeah,
that's right.
So it will be we will be together for 1 year, and it has like 5 to 6 separate component. Like journal introduction is AI and we. How we have already using that.
That's for people like me.
Yeah, and then the application of AI, because just now we have a very limited perception about the utility of that. So what are the already areas in which we are using them, and what are the new area which will be emerging out of that? Because there is if you look at the Niti Aayog this concept paper, they have already identified certain areas in which we have to make the AI as a main engine. For which include like the agriculture is one area, then we are talking about health, then the smart mobility and transportation, and the education. Because you might have seen now like how this corona pandemic has given us an opportunity to acquire more skill. So now if education, the overall structure of education has to be changed, especially like for the distant areas, I think now the AI will come to our help. So it's more a food for thought for ordinary citizen as well as for the scientist who can think of optimizing the utility of AI for, as you said, like for the human progress or human development as a whole. So based on those segments, we have in each segment we have 5 to 7 episode, and all are in a docudrama format. So we are going to tell you a story in a drama format. There is no hardcore discussion and all that, which you can relate the subject with your day-to-day life or with your real life experience, and you can take a message with that also. And also that how you can be part of that. If you are not, you are thinking like it's in a very academic subject or something which is beyond your reach.
Very exotic or something.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. The whole effort is that. And also suppose after listening those 6 or 7 episodes, you have some question in mind. So then in each interactive episode, we are calling subject expert in the studio, and they will be there to answer your queries. Plus, if you want to win a prize, so we'll be putting a 2 question
that's
at the end of each episode. So you can be like, if you are a lucky winner, I think you will be getting a prize, surprise gift from Vigyan Prasad. Yeah,
that's good. Gradually, another point that hits me now here is you spoke about algorithms and patterns and various other things. What raises curiosity in my mind is given the because this will cater to everyone in India, this particular subject, different linguistic groups as well. Now, given the linguistic diversity of India, and as you mentioned, algorithms and whatever equations, and it gives me a feeling it's a combination of what linguistic programming and mathematics is it? When you speak of algorithms and connected with artificial intelligence,
Right. In fact, it is, as I said, it's so holistic, it's so wholesome that it touches almost everybody's life. Whether it's language, whether it's at any moment, at any point in your life that you come across, you find artificial intelligence, its application of artificial intelligence. So it's actually gotten so deep, so into it that you just can't think life without applying artificial intelligence to your whole lifestyle. With regards to language, as I said, there has been a lot of experiments that have been done in the past, and I recall days when C. Dot had first come up with the all Indian languages word processors for all Indian languages way back in the times of mid-90s. That was the time when a lot of algorithms, patterns were put into place to make machine understand how language translation could happen, and this over a period of time actually evolved and grew up in something which is called the natural language processing as well. So that's an integral subset of artificial intelligence. Subset, I would say double subset, because machine learning happens to be the first subset, and then artificial NLP and other ASRs, all these words that you commonly hear are subsets of machine learning. So over a period of time, linguistics, as we talk about different languages that this country has, right? And we are adding more and more to the new series. In this case, it becomes much important and very relevant to have an application of artificial intelligence get into it, so that anything that is disseminated in Hindi and English gets duly disseminated in all languages. And I guess Dr. Tyagi would agree with me, and that's exactly the premise of this entire Aane Wala Kal or Welcome Tomorrow series, where we have programs simultaneously being aired, being talked about in different languages as well.
18 languages.
18 languages.
18 languages, yeah.
Any other point that in terms of structure that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah. One more thing, like as Dr. Parishar is saying, like since the evolution of man, there is always a human endeavor to, give a shape to his imagination. So I think there are a lot of books and literature in the past which has a primitive idea of artificial intelligence. So there is one segment in this series where we have tried to dig out those primitive ideas, which ultimately leads to the
entire evolutionary process.
Yes, of machine learning. So you can take it as a
Very
machine
interesting,
learning.
very interesting.
So, but I will not open the secret.
Okay.
You must listen to the program
Absolutely,
and give us your feedback. I hope you will enjoy that very interesting aspect, that it is not a new concept. No doubt, the term is new, but the human mind has been thinking about it since its very beginning. From the primitive age. So,
and taking cue from what Dr. Tyagi rightly said, I think as an endeavor of Vigyan Prasar and All India Radio, this program of ours would have 52 episodes, and I'm sure artificial intelligence is something which is so intriguing, so interesting, that everybody who listens and hears about it gets excited about it, and I'm sure listeners, for that matter, would really benefit from it, would really enjoy it. And as we said, at the end of the program, you've got prizes to win. So friends, listeners, I would invoke the artificial intelligence in each of you to come up and win those prizes and be benefited from this entire series that we are bringing to you.
Yeah, there's a one more aspect like which through which we are trying to dispel that myth. Like, is there any possibility in the future that the human mind will be replaced by artificial intelligence?
We've always thought of Frankenstein's.
Yeah. So, as Dr. Parashar has said, like all the coding or the algorithm is written by human beings. So there is a reinventing and exploring. This is the capability of human mind. A machine cannot do it beyond a certain limit. So I think the human intelligence will remain supreme in all the time to come. So there is not, we have seen a lot of films and all that where it has been shown, but I don't think personally that the artificial intelligence can surpass the human intelligence.
That's well said. Well, listeners, exciting times ahead. Do wait and tune to our program. We'll publicize it adequately to let you know when the series will actually be broadcast, at what time, on what channel. And of course, as Dr. Tyagi said, they'll be hosting it on the website also, is it?
Yes,
Okay.
after it will be broadcast. Yeah.
So any person can, at his own free time, one can just tune in on the website also.
Vigyan Prasar.
So we've come a long way from sustainable development to disasters to the studies about observing our atmosphere, pollution, various things about our own planet. And now we reach a point where we approach something which I, half an hour ago, used to think that it was not possible for me. But it took me just 30 minutes to get comfortable regarding the subject. I am not scared of it anymore, and I'm looking forward to the programs. Gentlemen, Dr. B.K. Tyagi, Dr. Nakul Parashar, thank you very much for sparing time to come to the studios of All India Radio and tell our listeners about our new series, Welcome Tomorrow, Aane Wala Kal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Manoj.
You have been listening to the curtain raiser of our new science serial, Welcome Tomorrow, which is a joint production of All India Radio with Vigyan Prasad. The serial is based on the concept of artificial intelligence. Participating experts in this curtain raiser were Dr. Nakul Parashar, Director, Vigyan Prasad, and Dr. Birendra Kumar Tyagi, Senior Scientist, Vigyan Prasad, and Coordinator of the science serial. The moderator was Manoj Mayankar. We shall bring you the first episode of the science serial Welcome Tomorrow at the same time and same day next week.